Good afternoon. Here we are at the workshop. Today we're going to test these two angle grinder machines. One is from Makita. It has 710 watts, and we have an almost identical Bosch machine here with 750 watts, and they're both brand new. We want to find out a few things about them. Basically, how is the handling and which one works better. Also, on the long term, which one is going to perform better. For the work we do is mostly with wood, so we're going to use a sanding grit here, 50, to sand away these big beams, and we're going to really test them on performance. So we're going to use them as hard as they want to be used, and try to find out which one of these is the better machine.
After having successfully tested both of these angle grinders, I think I can say I like the Bosch one a lot more. It just feels of better quality, and the handle is a bit slimmer, so you can grip around it a lot tighter. And when I apply full force on it, it feels controlled and it's all good. As in when I apply full force on this one, the Makita one, it kind of does its thing. It goes all over the place and feels a lot more flimsy. But otherwise, I think they're both pretty good machines.
Bosch also, it's more handy and less vibration than the other one, easy to handle it, I feel. And I think both of them are best also, I guess, but we are working for wood mostly, so for us this one was more handy, like use.
Here, Bosch versus Makita, I'm going to be using the Bosch machine here. It's the GWS 750100. The machine is really hot from the first round of testing, and we're going to do it even harder now to see really what output that this thing can give us.
Great, I'll be testing the Makita. It is the 9553NB Makita angle grinder. Here it goes.
Safety first, speed next. And always be prepared for COVID, always.
So I tried the Makita first. I think it handles well. Like Philip said, it's quite smooth, and it's definitely the quieter machine. But I definitely found that holding the Bosch is much easier. So the smaller body makes a big difference. It's lighter, it's easier to use. It's also easier, it feels much easier to get into different angles. So if you're working with natural wood and different shapes like we often do, this tool seems to be the one that's more versatile and easy to use and more flexible. The Bosch does feel more aggressive as well. So it does kind of bite into the material more, which I thought which can be a little bit tricky as well, depending on what kind of wood you're working with. I would say both tools have their benefits, but yeah, I think it's also a matter of, in the long run, trying them both out over a longer period of time, seeing which tool gets hotter. Apparently the Makita does, according to Philip's judgment. Approved, confirmed.
We've finished testing now for about 20 minutes. We've been grinding with both machines on full capacity. We've been trying to stop them, and I really had to try a few times back and forth to find out what's the difference between these two things. Well, everybody seems to find that this one, just because the body is much slimmer, here you can see my hand almost falls around it, here there's a big gap, so that makes a big difference for safety for us, because we're using it for a long time and it needs to be easy to hold on to. When the thing jumps, then you need to be able to hold it. If it jumps here, it's much more likely to get out of your hand and start running around cutting the wires or injuring people. So the handling on the Bosch seems to be a lot better. It's smaller, it's overall more lightweight, but now when you start grinding with it, there is a lot more sound, so ear protection becomes more important, and it's not as smooth running. So the engine has a little bit more noise going on in it, so it is a little bit more grippy to the wood, even though we're using the same disc. Makita, on the other hand, just starts up much smoother. The running sound is not so loud on the maximum, and it feels like it's doing a smoother run across the wood. But the fact that it's really big does hinder us to use it for a long time. And right now I'm feeling the heat in both machines. Also the Makita is transmitting heat much more. So this part, it's not comfortable to hold anymore. It's actually too hot. Whereas most of the heat should be going into this metal part here that's being cooled. And both metal parts are quite hot. but the body of this one just holds more heat, maybe because this one is thinner. But yeah, I feel they're both quite good. To really get a good understanding, we need to test them for a longer time and see on the long run what happens. Also, what we noticed is that this button here on the Bosch just doesn't lock in properly, and sometimes it takes a long time to get it in. That's going to be wasting our time a little bit, whereas the Makita one is very standard and just works well all the time. So yeah, let's find out some more about these machines in the next couple of months.